Welcome to The Outlet, an OTG production.
What's up, NBA fans? I'm Nick Fay. With me, as always, Parth.
What's up, Nick?
What's up, Parth? Today we have special guest, OTG writer and editor, Mike.
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
What's up, Mike? Glad to have you on.
Yeah, what's up, Mike?
Not too much, man.
So, today I wanted to talk about our biggest surprises of the season, just positive and negative. Mike, we'll start with you.
Positive surprise. We knew Golden State was going to be good. We knew Steph Curry as the reigning MVP was going to be good, but nobody thought they were going to be this good. If you play like 2K and you play it on a very low level and you try and play a season, you're still not going to get to 25-1 or 24-1 through 25 games. But somehow Golden State has turned this into a video game, and that's the biggest positive surprise. It's just a joy to watch.
Yeah, it's been entertaining to watch. You definitely have to enjoy the moment. Their streak did end, but while it lasted, it was definitely awesome. It's just a great team, and they're going to be good for seasons to come if they stay together.
Yeah, one thing that, at the beginning of the season, everyone was like, all right, they'll be good, like Mike was mentioning. But we didn't exactly, factor in the narrative that everyone was doubting their championship from this past year. Usually most champions come out sluggish, basically like a championship hangover. But these guys, they had adversity to go through with Steve Kerr not being there. And they had everyone doubting their championship, calling it lucky, even though there is some luck involved with every championship. But Doc Rivers just said flat out they didn't have to face us or the team we knocked out in the first round. So that sort of I feel like is bulletin board material for especially a guy like Draymond Green who will use anything. I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that added motivation not only to be great but to be great and prove other people wrong definitely helped him out and helped him with this great start.
Very true.
We haven't seen a defending champion team come out like this and basically have their agenda every night is to humiliate the other team. It's not to beat the other team, but it's to how badly can they beat that team. And we haven't seen that, probably since the '97 Bulls. And I grew up, that was my team. The Bulls are my favorite team. I want nothing more than to see this Warriors team obliterate 72 wins. And I think they're going to. I'm hoping they go 82-1 now, or 81-1.
So you think it's possible for the Warriors to pass the Bulls record?
If everybody, obviously, it comes down to who's going to be healthy. If they lose Curry for a stretch, it's not going to happen. If they lose Draymond for a long period of time, that might, it might be difficult. If Clay doesn't get back on the court before too long, and Harrison Barnes, that could be a problem. But I would be very surprised if they don't. I honestly believe this team's going to win 75 games.
Yep, and that's coming from a Bulls fans, guys. So take that. And honestly, I think it is possible. It'll be very tough, though, like you mentioned. If they miss Steph Curry or Draymond Green for a stretch of time, I think that really dampers them.
I think losing Draymond would be more of a hit to the Warriors than losing Curry. Just because you have guys like Livingston, Barbosa, who can fill in, and even like they have point forwards in Iguodala, and even Draymond could play sort of a point forward at times. So they don't obviously have the shooting that Curry does. Those four guys, but I think if they lose Draymond, who do they put in? Like Jason Thompson, Maurice Spates?
They might elect to go small and start Iggy. I don't know. But I agree with the point about Draymond because he gives him like such a different effect playing the way he does at the 4 position. That pick and roll running with him is just so hard to defend with his ability to shoot the 3, make a play, or get in the paint.
Right, and I think what Cleveland did to Golden State last year in the finals where they doubled Steph Curry off of every pick and roll when Draymond was a screener and basically forced Draymond to either take the 3 or drive in and be a playmaker. And he struggled, and that's what halted Golden State's offensive momentum in the finals. And I think he really studied that over the season, over the offseason, and really improved his playmaking and three-point shooting.
Yeah, I think he leads the Warriors in assists, actually.
He does. I just noticed that. And I don't know when the last time Might it have been Noah a couple years ago with the Bulls? And I don't think he actually led the Bulls in assists. But when was the last time you had a big man lead their team in assists on a good team?
Yeah, a great team, yeah. So that's a lot. And I love Draymond Green that he just like grabs the rebound, he's right down the court starting the fast break. I think that has such a huge impact too.
You were just, we just mentioned real quickly, I tweeted about this the other day. I am so excited for Sean Livingston. He was a player that I admired a lot, when he was playing at Peoria Central. And originally he was going to be a Duke kid, and he ended up going in the draft out of high school. He had all the potential in the world, and I thought he was going to be a superstar. He had a horrible leg injury in 2000. I want to say it was 2007, one of the worst leg injuries I've ever seen. But to have him be able to be out of the NBA, now back in the NBA and playing, substantial minutes on the best team in the league, I'm happy for him, and I think that's really been a really positive story over the last year and a half or so in the NBA.
Yeah, I definitely love Sean Livingston. Great player, come back from that injury. And the one thing that's nice about Livingston, I know he talks to some other players in the league when they suffer a crazy leg injury, gives them some advice. So he's a good guy. Mike, what was your biggest surprise on a negative side?
Biggest surprise negatively? We knew that the 76ers weren't going to be very good this year. They've sort of been the anti-Warriors. I don't think anybody expected Jerry Colangelo to be brought in mid-season to kind of clean up the mess that Sam Hinkie has kind of made. Obviously he's going to have says in the the day-to-day operation and the player development and the transactions, because he's got this just incredible pedigree with basketball that he's not going to just be brought in as a figurehead. So I think just the disaster that the 76ers have turned into, in year 4 or 5 of the process.
Yeah, it's weird for the Sixers because now if Colangelo wants them to bring in maybe a veteran or somebody, it hurts their growing process a little and they don't get to play it out, and they maybe end up as one of these in-between teams, and that's exactly what I guess they don't want. They're really just trying to go for the big prize. We don't know if it'll ever work, but it's what they're playing.
What veteran free agent would want to come to Philly though? To be honest, unless they really overpay, which I doubt will happen. Why would any free agent want to go to Philadelphia when they know that's what they're doing? It's known. They've made it known too.
Yeah, that's a great question, but I think they definitely need some leadership just to kind of get the young guys. Okafor's had his problems, so it'd probably be nice to just have someone to kind of give him some direction on that team.
It doesn't even have to be a player that is going to make huge contributions in the stat book. You look at what the Timberwolves are doing with Kevin Garnett and with Tayshaun Prince and Andre Miller. Guys that could just show the younger Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins and Levine and whatever, teach them how to be professionals. I think it's more detrimental to a team trying to build to have a bunch of guys who aren't going to be in the NBA in a year or two, to fill out your roster. So I don't know to answer your question, I don't know who's going to want to go there. It's definitely going to have to overpay for somebody. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it's vital for a team to try and be successful. With such a young roster, you need it.
Yeah. They had Jason Richardson and then they traded him, and he subsequently retired. I remember doing the preview podcast for the 76ers, and I thought he would be a calming veteran influence if he stayed there. But you see what they do with veteran players. It's if they're not going to play, and I don't think even I don't think Sam Hinkie even wants a veteran player to play. To be honest, they obviously want to lose, but they also want to develop their younger guys. So why have someone with veteran experience kind of, I would say, stunt the I don't want to say stunt the on-court growth, but it's kind of what they're doing, even though they do bring a lot of value to the locker room and off the court sort of incidents, as we've seen with Jahlil Okafor.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like you said, taking away the minutes from the younger players, that's what they don't want.
Let's turn it into a complete tire fire. Kobe's leaving the Lakers after this year. He's going to retire. You make a Godfather offer to Kobe, tell him to come back home to where he went to high school, have him play with this young crew. Let's completely stunt their development. let's give Kobe a year or two in Philadelphia to throw up 30 shots a game. I'm all for it. I mean, if they're not going to win, let's be entertainingly bad, huh?
That would be entertaining. I don't think Kobe would even want to join a team that he knows is going to lose this many games. So
He's not doing much better in LA.
true, true.
It is LA though. I'd rather live in Los Angeles than Philadelphia.
This is true. This is true. At least you have the beach to make you feel happy.
Yep, the sun does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Parth, what's your biggest surprise of the season?
I would say on the positive side, it's more of a personal thing than a league-wide positive surprise, but it's the Portland Trailblazers backcourt. I was always a fan of CJ McCollum since I saw him beat Austin Rivers and Duke. I think that was 3-4 seasons ago. And then he came back for his senior year, I believe, at Lehigh and broke his foot and was kind of out the entire year. And then I think the last couple of seasons, is he a second-year player or third-year player?
I think he's a third-year player.
Well, he was slotted behind Wes Matthews and didn't really get the opportunity. But now that Matthews is gone, you see what kind of player McCollum is and could possibly develop into further down the road. And he is super entertaining. And so is Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard has, I think, really marked himself down as the third best point guard in the league this year. Third or fourth. I think it's between. I think the first two are definitely Curry and Westbrook, and then you can make a case for Lowry. You can make the case for Lillard. Wall, Chris Paul is always there, but he hasn't been consistently on the court this year. So I think Lillard has been incredible this year, and that backcourt has been really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, they definitely have. They're great to watch on League Pass. Like you said, it's nice to see McCollum do good. He gets to finally play now, and he's staying healthy. And those two, they pretty much carry the Portland Trailblazers to wins when they win games. So a lot on their backs.
And nobody really expected Portland to make a run at the playoffs this year. They're doing a lot there, and you would expect them. I had expected them to. I think they're 10-15 right now, especially after losing Aldridge. You just didn't expect. I didn't expect a competitive team, but I guess I hadn't thought about the development of C.J. McCollum or Damian Lillard as being one of the just real tenacious competitors in the NBA.
Yeah, it definitely caught me by surprise. They lost everybody and they came back, and they're still, at least they compete every night.
Well, that just goes straight into my my negative surprise of the year, and that's the Western Conference as a whole. I remember going into the season, we all agreed that hey, there were 6 elite teams in the West, and so far there's only been 2, which is the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs. Everyone else is kind of up and down. We thought the Oklahoma City Thunder would be a little bit better. They're still trying to find their way. I think at the end they will be an elite team, but they're still trying to find their way at this point. Memphis has been up and down. They already made a trade to get Mario Chalmers. What happened to Houston? Seriously, guys, what the hell happened to Houston?
I don't. They're tough to watch too. Like if I was a Rockets fan, they don't play any defense. It seems like they're always going for steals, and they just lose focus in the game. It's just like sometimes it looks like they don't even care.
It's very well possible that it was a product of James Harden having the best season that he'll ever have, as a pro, and now the team just kind of regresses back. I didn't think they were going to be a 500 team like they are now. But they still have to kind of find their identity. They have a new head coach. They had to fire Kevin McHale. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not a Rockets fan.
Yeah,
they were being picked to win the Western Conference this year.
And talk about letdown, Ty Lawson. I mean, they bring him in. He's expected to kind of have a nice little season to fit in with the veterans, give him an extra little scoring punch, relieve James Harden a little bit, and he can barely even start.
I think he just works better with the second unit. I think Beverly just plays better with Harden just because I think he's a better spot-up three-point shooter, which you kind of want when Harden has the ball. But we were talking about the importance and the impact Ty Lawson could have, and it could be taking Harden off the ball a little bit more to give him some relief. But it obviously hasn't worked out that way because when Lawson's had the ball, he hasn't really been good.
Yeah, at times it looks like he just like lost a step almost because he's getting his shot blocked a lot this season. I don't know if you've seen like a couple of the vines, but it's just been bad. It's looking like a big brother's blocking a little brother sometimes just because he's undersized.
Yeah, the Rockets have had a terrible start to their season, and another team that's been up and down, which is one of the final of the six, are the Los Angeles Clippers. They've had their injuries. Blake started out as an MVP candidate, but I think he's kind of come back down to earth the last couple of weeks. DeAndre Jordan, who got paid what 84, 85 million dollars, he's averaging a double double, but a lot of games he's scoring 5, 6 points. He'll have that explosion with 20 points, 15, 20 rebounds, but consistently, I mean, they don't run any plays for him. The only play he actually gets is the lob, essentially, and then the other chance he gets at scoring is at the line, which he's shooting like 30% of. So, I mean, I like DeAndre Jordan. I think he's a fun player to watch when he's not shooting free throws, but I don't know, man. The Clippers we all thought Doc the GM had an excellent offseason, bringing in a ton of different guys to fortify their bench, and it just hasn't worked. It hasn't meshed the way we thought it would. So we like to blame Doc the GM in the past, but it's kind of it's kind of on Doc the coach this time for not getting things to mesh.
Yeah, it seems like the free agent signings haven't really worked out. I know there's even been a few trade rumors. I know Doc shot them down, but people mentioned Josh Smith and Lance Stevenson possibly being traded already in this early in the season.
Unlike the Rockets, I'm not ready to kind of panic or hit a panic button with the Clippers. They have enough guys on their team. Chris Paul and Paul Pierce has been a little bit of a disappointment, but they're not using Paul Pierce for the now. They're using Paul. They have Paul Pierce for the playoffs. They have Paul Pierce, for late in the season. I'm not willing to hit the panic button on them now because I still think there's plenty of time for them to right the ship, and they're going to probably host a playoff series. They'll probably have home court for the in the first round. I just don't see them falling out of the top 5 at the end of the season or out of the top 4 in the East or in the West. I'm an idiot that can't talk right now.
Yeah, I mean, they should be able to land the top spot, but they still need to get their act together. I want to see if they can get like the chemistry growing because I think there's a lot of potential for them to be an elite team in the West just with all the talent they have, but it's just not meshing right now.
I think they'll have to play. I think the 1 and 2 spots are kind of locked up with Golden State and the Spurs. I think, the Spurs with Golden State having an incredible start to the season, we forget that the Spurs are only 3 or 4 games behind them. Quietly 3 or 4 games behind them, I should say.
Exactly.
And I think 1 and 2 could be either or. I personally don't see Golden State beating the 95-96 Bulls 72 wins, but I think you could swap either or first or second seed, and then the Clippers would have to go through one of those 2 teams to get to the Western Conference Finals, which is I think their expectation floor at this point, right? Because if they get ousted in the second round again, that's a disappointment. If they get to the Western Conference Finals, all right, maybe that's taking a step forward. Maybe not what most fans expect from the Clippers, but it's doing better from their previous seasons. So they have to go through one of those 2 teams to get there.
Yeah, I think as a fan, you just need to kind of readjust your expectations for the Clippers. If you're a Clippers fan, getting to the Western Conference Finals or getting to the finals this year in general was a goal. Now, you can't realistically expect them to beat San Antonio, or maybe they beat San Antonio, but not realistically beat Golden State in a 7-game series. Obviously, the players think differently. Chris Paul's not going to tell you that they don't think they can beat Golden State in a 7-game series, but I think you kind of have to readjust your standards for the season, and I think it's a success if they can just get to the second round this year.
Mike, no one's thinking that logically.
I know. I'm just trying to throw a little bit out there.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's time to panic, but I agree with Nick in the sense that they have to get their act together because those 2 teams are in their way to get what they want.
and they're both really, really good.
It's like being a Laker fan, though. If you're a Clippers fan, you're getting frustrated by it. Step outside, man. Go to Hermosa Beach for the afternoon. Get a fish taco. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Beautiful where you live, man.
Yeah, what I do to live in LA right now. Even though the weather here in Virginia has been nice. It's been like 60 and 70 degrees, so can't really complain.
Over this past weekend in New York, it was over 60 degrees, which is crazy.
It's the middle of December, and it's 35 degrees in Minnesota. And it's raining.
Not snowing, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But let's get into FanDuel. Interesting note, I think earlier this week, the courts actually ruled against FanDuel and DraftKings, saying they weren't allowed, but they appealed it, so now FanDuel and DraftKings are back to working in New York again until they make another decision. So just a side note. But players I like for this week, Otto Porter, Bradley Beal's out. They're going to rely on him a lot more. The last game Beal missed, Porter put up 42 fantasy points, so that's solid right there for 6,000. Another guy to keep an eye on is Matt Barnes. Zach Randolph got benched. Matt Barnes started. He put up 37 fantasy points, and I think as a starter he's averaging something like 14, 5, and 4, something along those lines. So definitely some nice value for him because I think he's only in like the 4,000, 5,000 range. Another guy to keep an eye on, Emmanuel Mudiay is possibly out. I don't know how long. I think he'll miss at least 2 games. So Jameer Nelson for 4,000. That's a solid buy right there. And I don't really know what's up with Phoenix's front court. Markieff Morris, I guess, possibly could be traded. I know he's been getting some coaches' decisions. So keep an eye on Mirza Teletovic and John Lohr. And that wraps it up for fantasy.
All right, let's get right into games of the week. So, Nick, you were 5-1 last week, I believe.
Nice.
Right, 5-1. So you're back above 500 at 16 and 14, and I was 4-2, so I'm at 20 and 10. And since we have Mike on this week, and Nick, you need some help catching up, we're gonna let Mike take your picks for this week. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me, Mike. I have full confidence in you.
Oh, that makes one of us.
All right, Mike. Tonight, Monday, December 14th at 7 on League Pass, Toronto at Indiana.
Give me Indiana.
All right, that was short and sweet. I'm going to go with Toronto because I like Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I probably would have went with Indiana if I was making the pick myself.
All right, so hopefully that's not a loss for you, Mike.
Well, I mean, Indiana has 13 wins. Paul George wears number 13. I think it's a sign. Take it to the house.
All right, fair enough. So Tuesday, December 15th, 10:30 on League Pass, Milwaukee at Los Angeles. Lakers.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to take the Lakers on this one. I can see Milwaukee coming off of a big win against Golden State to snap that win streak. And I want to see them do what bad teams do, and that's lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to. So give me the Lakers.
Yeah, I agree with you on this. I think this is going to be a vintage Kobe performance. Milwaukee's defense isn't what we thought it would be, and I think the Lakers are pretty bad on offense, but I think they could take advantage of Milwaukee, even though they have this length and should be better. But vintage Kobe performance possibility Tuesday night.
The Bucks have definitely been a disappointment. Thought they would take a next step with Greg Monroe, but they regressed.
All right, Wednesday, December 16th at 7 on League Pass. 2 surprise teams in the East. The Hornets visit the Magic.
I'll take the Hornets. I don't have anything profound to say. Just give me the Hornets.
These aren't very profound teams, but the Hornets have been a surprise this year, so that's a solid pick. I think I'm going to agree with you and take the Hornets on the road, and I think this will be a close one because all Orlando does is play close games.
And Nicholas Batum has been great for the Hornets this year. He's definitely stepped up his game. He's had some crazy games from three-point line.
Yeah, he's been good. Kemba's been good, and they're doing a lot better than I thought they would without Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Okay, Thursday. This is my primetime matchup of the week. Thursday, December 17th, 8 on TNT. OKC at Cleveland.
Ooh. I'm taking OKC and give me Russell Westbrook going for a triple-double.
I like that pick. I'm going with OKC as well. I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen Durant and LeBron match up, and within that time, Paul George has put his name back into top small forward. Kawhi Leonard has inserted his name as well. I still believe that these two are the best players in the NBA when they're right and when they're giving 100%. Curry's kind of taken the top spot this year, but I still think these two, when they're right, are the two best players in the league, and I think they're gonna throw down an epic performance and prove that.
I would agree with that. Those two, when they're healthy and good to go, top two players in the NBA, and this should be one of the best matchups of the whole season. I'm honestly really excited to watch this game. Like you said, I feel like we haven't watched Durant versus LeBron in a while.
Yeah, injuries suck, man. Injuries have sucked. All right, Friday, December 18th at 8 on ESPN. The Los Angeles Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs in a first-round rematch from last year.
Where's it being played at?
San Antonio.
Give me San Antonio.
Yep, I'm a San Antonio Spurs believer. They've been quiet, but they've been incredible.
Yeah, the Spurs aren't playing games this year. They're blowing out good teams, too. They're getting a lot of production from a lot of different people, which is always the Spurs.
All right, Mike, I'm happy you're on this week's podcast because on Saturday, December 19th at 7:30 on League Pass, your Chicago Bulls go into the Mecca and face the New York Knicks.
There's no way I'm ever picking the Knicks against the Bulls. Give me the Bulls. And it'll be close. Bulls probably only win by 30, 45, maybe something like that. It'll be closer.
You know what? I'm gonna pick the Knicks. Not because I think they'll actually win, but just because you picked the Bulls.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So just a quick recap. I have Toronto over Indy, and you have Indy over Toronto. We both think the Lakers will beat the Bucks somehow. We both think Charlotte will beat the Magic. We both think OKC and Durant will beat LeBron and the Cavs. We both think San Antonio is just super elite, and the Clippers are not. So we both have San Antonio winning. And you have the Bulls beating the Knicks, and I, for some reason, have the Knicks beating the Bulls.
I'm only saying that because I'm a Bulls fan. I don't have any confidence that they're going to go into Madison Square Garden and win that game. I don't know. Their record might indicate otherwise. I don't trust this Bulls team, but I'm not going to go against them against the Knicks.
Yeah, I think that Saturday night game is the no confidence pick of the week. I don't think I have any confidence either in the Knicks.
I like your picks, though, Mike. I probably would have made almost all the same picks, so I feel good.
I don't know if that's a good thing for you, Nick.
I don't know. Well, you picked most of the same ones, too, so.
Okay, that's true.
So you're not going to lose too much ground on Parth.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll be really rooting for the Bulls.
Fair enough.
But that wraps it up for today. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Gentlemen, it's been fun. Looking forward to hopefully being invited back.
For sure.